Hey guys, this is going to be my home for the night. I thought I'd try this out. I've been seeing some videos done on this long log fire. Sarge did one, and there's another guy out in Alaska that I watch. I can't remember his channel name right now. But anyway, I didn't want to set up right next to the road. The road's over there. And I did not want to set up on the back of my property because I'm trapping back there, and I really haven't had any animals move through but deer, but still, you know, I mean, I got traps back there. I don't really want to, just in case I get something, I don't want to scare something away that I could have gotten. So what I did here is I've got some oak trees in my yard. I used those for the back end of the tarp, and then I made some tripods and buried the legs in snow, and actually even used a little water so that they'd ice up. And that way I could make my ridge line, or my top line there, I could get that pretty tight without pulling it over. So I got a little snow on the ground, so I had to kind of raise the fire lay above the snow. So some of that's dry, and a couple of the really bottom pieces are just green wood that kind of got chopped down in the process of doing what I do. I need to gather some more of that kindling, or a little bit bigger than kindling, I guess. And I already got some of the smaller stuff, some of like the pencil size and smaller. I got my birch bark tucked up in there. I'm going to get a wool blanket. I'm going to use a sleeping pad tonight. I'll show you that later. I was going to get some of my fir trees and pine trees, but you know, I like how they look when they're low. The branches are low to the ground, so I didn't want to sacrifice any of those. I was going to use a sleeping pad anyway, just because I've got a pretty bad back, and no need to throw it out doing this. So this is some of the brush that I cut down while cutting some of the live trees, because that's what I made the log bed out of, was some live trees, green trees. So I piled the brush over there and then threw snow on the side. That's going to be hopefully a little bit of a windbreak for me. And I see I need to grab some of these trees, or some fuel too. I need to put those on the other side, kind of clean up camp a little bit. Anyway, I thought I'd just show you this. One thing I should have done was make this ridge line a little taller. I just, you know, this is my first time sleeping outdoors with just a tarp. You know, I know if any of you have ever watched any of my videos, I really complain about the mosquitoes a lot, and that's why I don't tarp tent or tarp camp. So I just never have. But anyway, this winter time, it looks like it's going to be pretty fun. So this is an this is a Tent Smiths 8x8 oilskin tarp. And one thing about these tarps is they have a tie out in the back, a couple of them, and that makes it nice. So like I said, I did not do my ridgeline tall enough, so I'm able to increase the inside area by using that tie out. So I'm gonna gather a little bit more fuel and get my sleeping pad and my wool blanket and get set up. So I'll get back with you guys in a little bit. Hey guys, well, this is my log fire here, my long log fire. I got a bunch of fuel there, and some of the bigger logs are down there, but I'll show you where I'm going to be sleeping. There's my wool blanket. I'm going to try and not do the diamond burrito wrap type thing. First thing, I'm just going to use, hopefully this camera focuses here pretty soon. There we go. I just got a blanket on top, laying down on a blanket, and I've got a pad, just one of my camping pads. Let's see here. Just one of those. And we'll go from there. First thing I'm going to do is make a little fire, a little cooking fire. Probably going to make some hot chocolate, and maybe roast up a squirrel I shot today. Right there. So the first thing I got to do is I've got to make a base for the fire, because you know, we've got a lot of snow. It's actually still snowing a little bit now. Make a little base, get a little cooking fire going, and I'll get back with you. Oh, I forgot. I was going to show you what the temperature was. It's about 7. My inside thermometer said 7. There you go. Something else I wanted to mention about this thing too. Now see, it's got this nice little compass here. I tested this thing out. It actually points backwards. So north is south and south is north. So I guess I don't know what the reasoning of that is. I don't know if China has a different philosophy on things or what, but you might want to check these little things out before you take them out into the woods or something. You want to make sure that, you know, everything works the way you want it to work. So anyway, just thought I'd share that. I'm going to make a cooking fire and I'll get back with you. Alright, well, we finally got a fire started. Hopefully it'll burn some of this dampness off of it. A piece of birch bark just in case here. Alright, well, I'm going to get this fire cracking and get some coals and make something to eat. Okay, well, hopefully you guys are getting some of this stuff. Started off a little bit rocky. I turned the camera off and then turned it back on, and wood's kind of having a hard time starting. It's just winter, that's all. It just sometimes you get rusty and getting back out in the groove of things and getting going. One thing I will mention is if you're outside all day, like I was doing all hobby farming stuff and checking my traps and stuff like that, and then you go inside and relax for a little bit, coming back outside again, you're going to be cold. So just keep that in mind. Another thing, you know, screwing around like this all day, you get snow in your pants and everything, and as long as it's below freezing, it's not a big deal. But you come next to the fire, and if you got snow on your pants or something, you're going to want to brush them off. Now my boots are waterproof supposedly, so it's not too big a deal, but like I had snow, like I was kneeling down on that piece of birch bark, I had a piece of some snow up there, and you can see I got snow right there on my cuff. I'm going to take my gloves and I'm going to beat that off, so hopefully when I get warmed up and stuff, it doesn't melt and make my pants all wet. So anyway, like I said, I'm going to let this fire get some coals. I got some extra wood. That's my cooking wood, and then that big thing there is my wood for the night. That's the wood for the night. I had originally wanted to cook my squirrel in my squirrel cooker, and I thought that if I just brought a baton out, I could beat it into this frozen ground. Well, we've had some pretty cold weather, and it wasn't happening because it was really froze, and it's froze down there a ways too. I bet you we have at least a foot to a foot and a half of frost right now in the ground. So I'm going to maybe get a little bigger piece of wood and use it as a prop or something, so I don't have to just sit there and hold that squirrel over the top of the fire. Yeah, I haven't figured out what I'm going to do yet, but we'll cook it up somehow. Anyway, hope you guys are having a good night. All that frost and everything frozen. It takes a while for this wood to get going. But while it's trying to coal up there or whatever, trying to get some good coals, I thought I'd just share something else with you. I have my, I'll tell you what I got on. I've got some, I can't see it, but anyway, these are German Army pants, wool. They're real nice pants because they have cargo pockets in them, and plus they're pretty thick. The buttons on them are a pain in the butt, but other than that, they're pretty good pants. I've just got some wool inserts, military wool glove liners, I guess they call them. I've got a Korean War era wool jacket on, and underneath that I just got a cotton t-shirt and a cotton flannel, uninsulated flannel. And then over the top of that I had my Boreal shirt made by Empire Wool and Canvas. Now that I had this fire going, I was comfortable before I had this fire going. Oh, I also have a wool scarf on. I was comfortable before I had this fire going with the clothes that I had on, and of course a wool cap too. Sorry about this, but anyway, I was comfortable before I had this fire going. Once I had the fire going, it became not hot, but even more comfortable. So once you become comfortable to a certain temperature, no matter how many clothes you have on, even if you have a bunch of coats and stuff on, you can be warm at 70 degrees, even if you have a nice big wool coat on. So what you want to do is try and remove as much clothes as you can and still be comfortable, so that when you don't have that warmth, you have something extra to put on. So what I did is I took off my Boreal shirt. I'm hoping to use it as a pillow. I got it right there. So I'm hoping I can use that as a pillow tonight, and then I won't need it. But if I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm freezing, I have something extra to put on. And I'm actually hoping to be able to remove my scarf as well. So that's just a little tidbit, is even driving in the car, you got your heater on full blast, take your hat off, take your gloves off once you warm up in your car, take your coat off, everything. That way, you know, if something happens, you get stranded, you're not warm and comfortable with a coat on and it being 70 degrees inside your car. You have something else to put on to help with that. So anyway, that's just a little tidbit there. I don't know if you know that already, probably, or not, but anyway, I'm going to start cooking the squirrel here pretty soon, so I'll get back with you. Okay, well, I got my squirrel cooking there. One other thing I thought I'd show you guys is, I think I got plenty of wood to last the night. I mean, that stuff I'd have to add every so often, so I wouldn't get a very good night's sleep. But I've got some big logs. Actually, they're under that, so I've got to get a good bed of coals. When you got snow on the ground like this, it's really hard to get a good bed of coals. You can see I kicked all the snow away, plus laid a bed of sticks, and you know, it's finally starting to get a nice bed under there, but it's melted everything around it. I mean, it's just, you know, it's just the way it is with snow. It takes a while to get a bed of coals. So I've made my long log fire lay, and I'll show you that in just a second. But if I wake up in the middle of the night and the fire's out, I am real close to my house. This is the first time I've ever tarped, camped in the winter or anything like that. So, you know, I always like to play things real safe. I just practice this stuff at home until I feel comfortable, and then, you know, I'll go out in the woods and do it. It's no big deal. It's always smart to try this stuff where you feel comfortable and where you would not get yourself in a bad situation. But anyway, if my fire dies out, goes out completely, I can either go inside, or what I'd rather do would be that I saved some stuff back here. I saved some birch bark. I've got some of that cattail there. And I've got just a tiny bit of kindling. Now, I didn't put too much back there because I'm not going to use all of that either. So anyway, I have a backup plan. I can get at least warm a little bit so you can function and move, and then maybe go inside or reassess the situation. But anyway, so in other words, I'm not going to use all my resources in one shot. So what I've done here is I had to lay quite a base here, just because, like I said, because of the snow. So I've got some dry logs and some green logs. This one's a green one down here. Most of this is poplar. Green poplar will burn, but then it's better than the snow. And I just didn't have the energy or the time to grab all dead logs. So I built a base with a little cavity in the middle. I put a whole bunch of birch bark down through the middle, and then I put varying sizes of kindling on top of that. Started off with small and went bigger, and then actually I had once I dug down into my pile, I found that I had some even smaller stuff, so I dumped that on top. One thing when it's cold like this, once in a while it can be tough to figure out what's dead and dry and what's not. See, like this, I don't think that's not the greatest. You can tell it's got buds on it from some time, you know. It snaps, but that bark is a little bit green in there. So it'll burn, but it's not the greatest. And see how fast, I mean, that just snapped like that, but that's the way everything is when it's this cold out. So anyway, you got to be kind of careful of your tinder and your kindling and stuff like that. So like I said, I got logs on each side, cavity run through the middle, birch bark in the middle, and of course under that is even a bed of logs too. And then just all this kindling on top, and then I'm just going to lean some of these bigger pieces over the top until I get a nice thing of coals going, and then I'm going to feed it with some of this other fuel. And then I got a couple of big logs, this one in particular, that I'm going to throw on there to last me all night. I figure it's going to take me at least an hour to get a bed of coals, at least an hour, maybe an hour and a half, to get this burning before I can put that big piece on there. So I think I'll wait a little bit, enjoy my squirrel, and then light the fire. Take care. Okay, well, hopefully you guys can see me do this. It's time for me to light this fire. It's 8 something, about 8:15. Like I said, it's going to take about an hour, I'm going to guess, maybe an hour and a half, to get this thing to have the coals that I want. So I'm going to try to grab a stick out of the fire and give her a light. Okay, well, this is what I've got so far. Hopefully this is, I guess, what we have in mind. I'm kind of wondering if I should have built it closer because it's still a little cold. I think it's just going to do nothing but warm up because it's going to get a bigger fire. But, you know, eventually I'm going to put this little guy out too, so I don't know. So inside my shelter, well, I got to turn my light on. Okay, so inside my shelter, it was just laying on my bed. That's what it is right there. So what's that, 30? So outside it's close to 0. So it's helping. And I feel that warmth now. Luckily we don't have much of a wind, just a little bit of a wind. But yeah, I'm starting to feel that warmth now. That feels pretty good. And like I said, I always have my my Boreal shirt to put back on too. So, alright guys, I ate my first piece of squirrel. I'm on my second, trying to get that one cooked up. One thing that I hope doesn't happen is all day today it's been quiet. But my neighbors have a tendency to let their dogs bark all night long. And there's few things in this world that irritate me more than a dog barking. So I don't know if you can hear that one in the background. He's kind of far off, but it still irritates me a little bit. Hopefully he shuts up and it's nice and quiet out. So anyway, yeah, I'm starting to feel that warmth now. Get those coals down in that bed there and put that big sucker on there before too long. Alright, okay, I did what I could and I moved it closer. Kind of screwed up the coals and everything, but I think it's starting to catch again. That's why I got so much wood earlier, is because basically the amount of wood you think you're going to need, you need about twice that much. And I can see already I burnt that whole stack already. And look at it. I've got just a few. I got my last log for the night and a couple of other logs. I've got about 3 or 4 good logs left, and then that's it. So I should have grabbed at least another twice as much wood. It's gonna get cold before it gets better. So hopefully this works out. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, well, I think it's gonna get a little bit colder tonight, but anyway, it's single digits above 0. Let's see what it's like inside the shelter. Okay, excuse me. Well, I put a couple big logs on there, and we'll see how this treats us. Hopefully this lasts all night long. I don't know. They're pretty good sized logs, but we'll see. Anyway, here is the inside temperature inside my shelter. So about 30 degrees. So that's quite a bit better than what it is outside. So I think I'm about ready to go to bed. I'm going to I haven't decided if I'm going to put my wool my Boreal shirt on yet. Actually, now that this is taken off, I don't think I'm going to. I still think I'm going to use my Boreal shirt for a pillow. But anyway, I'm getting tired. Had a long day, and see you guys in the morning. Okay, well, you can see how much closer the fire is now. As soon as I went to bed, I was cold. I got my Boreal shirt on, and my torso is warm, but my backside is cold. So I moved the fire over. I had to get a bunch more wood from the woods, small stuff to get it started. And now I'm starting to... I was always warm, it's just that I knew I was going to be miserable for the rest of the night. It's only like 10 o'clock. The temperature dropped a bit because now, I don't know if you can see, but it's clearing up and you can see the stars. So once the stars come out and it's not cloudy anymore, the clouds hold the heat in, and so there you go. So hopefully this will keep me warm for a while. And now I'm going to try to go back to bed. So let's see what time it is actually. Yeah, it's about 10:40. So as soon as I got in my wool blanket, I was like, wow, my butt's really cold. And the rest of me was fine. So that's just the way it is. I think it's, my wife actually came out here and checked on me, and she said it's getting down to 0. So there you go. This is why you test everything next to your house. So good night, guys. Okay, well, it's about 11:40. The fire is about as close as I can get it. I can get it a little bit closer, I guess. But this is the last of my wood. This whole wool blanket deal, I've tried this about 3 or 4 times now. And I understand it's, you know, kind of romantic to be able to just go out in the woods with just a wool blanket, and for me it just ain't happening, man. I mean, I'm kind of cold, and you know, whatever. I'll make it the night, I guess, maybe. But I'm gonna try to do the whole burrito wrap now. I'm done getting more wood. I just don't think it's practical. I chainsawed this wood to get, you know, and this is all softwood, so it's not like it's oak. If it was oak or something, I could see where maybe it would be better. And maybe if I would have started with the fire this close to begin with, it might have been better. But every time I go to sleep, my front's warm, but my back is cold. And so I like my wool blankets. I love them for hammock camping, for underquilts. I can see where they're awesome for fireproofing, to wrap your sleeping bag in or something if you're going to be next to a fire. This log bed is, with this pad, is semi-comfortable. It's just freaking cold. I don't know, I just looked at my thermometer and it was like 30 or something inside of here. But I did 30 once before with a wool blanket and I wasn't very warm. And I like sleeping cold. I mean, my house is 58 usually, sleeping. I don't know, I'm rambling. This isn't, I don't know, this test isn't working out quite the way I'd thought. Anyway, talk to you guys later. Hey guys, well, it's 1 o'clock. My fire should have been bigger. I should have had more wood. And I'm going inside. So it's a little chilly. And I think I'm done. I don't know what the temperature is. Let me see if I can check it out real quick. It's right around 0. So anyway, it was a good test. Good good experiment. So it's just not worth it for me to stay out here. I didn't really get much sleep anyway. I got some sleep, but my back's starting to hurt too, so anyway, time for the nice warm bed. Guys, I'm going to try to be quiet because my wife is still sleeping. So, like I said last night, I came in about 1 in the morning. I slept a little bit out there, but I was basically cold as soon as I wrapped up in that wool blanket. The front of me was warm, I could feel the heat. My backside was cold. I slept with the blanket just folded over for a while, or kind of rested, napped that way. And then finally got pretty cold. So I tried the whole burrito wrap thing where I tucked my feet in and then laid on my back and pulled both folds of my blanket over me. That helped. I think I was actually able to get some sleep with that method. But basically I needed about 2 to 3 times as much wood as what I had. I ended up moving that fire probably 3 feet closer by the time it was all said and done. So I mean, it was pretty close by the time it was done. I've tried this wool blanket thing before, never in winter, but I think down to about 30. And I've tried it on the ground and I've tried it in a hammock, just with the wool blanket, just with no underquilt or anything like that. Basically, every time I've used a wool blanket, unless it was warm in the summer, I've been cold. So maybe it's just me, maybe I'm just a cold sleeper. I don't know, but I know my house is usually, 58, 59 degrees, and I sleep pretty good that way. But, whatever. It was 1 below when I got in. You saw right there, it was 8 below. It's 8 below right now. So, for me, I'm not sure how practical this wool blanket with a huge fire like that is, because, I had to chainsaw that wood. Some of that wood I use for burning for the inside of my house once in a great while. Mostly I use oak. because it puts up a lot better heat. And maybe that was the problem. The softwood doesn't put off as much heat and it burns a lot faster. So maybe if I'd have had big chunks of oak or something, maybe it would have been pretty good. But you know, there again, I mean, some of those logs are pretty good. I think you'd have to use a four-wheeler to bring those logs up, and not, I wouldn't be able to manhandle them like I was able to carry them out of my pasture and bring them up. So for me, I just don't know how practical it is. I'm getting an MSS system for Christmas. I want to try the same thing with that MSS system. And you know, that bag I think is supposed to be good to 30 below or something. I've slept in sleeping bags my whole life and never had a problem really. So hopefully this is the ticket. And if I want a cooking fire, then I'll have a cooking fire, and if I want like a regular heating fire, then maybe I'll bring a wool blanket to kind of wrap around the MSS to protect it from the sparks. I know I got a little burn hole in my wool pants just from last night. So there you go. I whisked out and came in. When I got in bed, I was pretty cold, and basically I basically shivered for 4 hours until the wife took pity on me and turned up the heat. Once that cold gets inside you, it's really tough to get back out. I mean, it's tough to warm back up again. So I hope you guys liked the video.